We wish to thank all our TTFF 21 sponsors and partners. NGC is our signature sponsor this year. We have leading sponsorship from Shell, TT, and Republic Bank Limited. Today I have with us two directors, one AJ Wilhelm with his film Junior, and the other is from Nigeria, Siji Awoyinka. I hope I spelled that right.
Not bad at all.
Pronounced it right. Not bad. From Nigeria with his film ELDER'S Corner. We will start off with AJ, as his is the short and ELDER'S Corner is the features, but we will hopefully give them both about the same time. So AJ, Junior, what inspired you to make this film?
Thanks a lot, Bruce, and I want to thank you and Siji for being live with you tonight to be able to discuss these films. And I also want to thank the Tobago Film Festival for selecting Junior. What inspired me to make Junior is I've been traveling to Haiti for about a decade, going back and forth, and I've worked on a lot of different stories. And I think the thing is that a lot of people only know sort of like the broad stroke news stories that happen, and they tend to be things that are sort of like disaster related. So I having been there so much, I just felt it was really important to tell smaller stories and really get into to personal voices and let them say what goes on in their house, but not these giant things. Unfortunately, the news just keeps reminding us of all these big things that happen in Haiti. But essentially my idea was to make something about an individual in Haiti and sort of an everyday story. Junior is not an everyday person, but it is a story just about one man.
How did you find out about Junior?
Oh, I mean, it's actually kind of a funny story. I was just hanging out at a beach just west of Port-au-Prince, and a friend of mine who has the same name as me, he was like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I had a camera and a lav on me. That was about it, pretty low key. And I was like, "Why? What's up?" And he's like, "I'm going to pick up some drums I had made by this one guy who's like kind of famous." I'm like, "I am definitely in." I do a lot of like music stuff in general, so that was right up my alley. And we showed up at his place. The drums are just absolutely beautiful. They sound amazing. And the two of them just chopped it up in the backyard. And Junior started to tell a story about when he was like 14 years old. He wasn't really into the drums, but he just had this calling that happened to him, basically. And long story short, he ended up in one of the most famous roots bands in Haiti and toured for about 20 years. And I was hearing that, and it all sounded super familiar. And I used to live in Washington, D.C., and when I was just starting out taking pictures and making videos, I would just, go whatever kind of events are happening in D.C. And they have the Smithsonian has a summer festival. I think it's called All Roads Film Fest, and they feature like 3 different countries every year. And in 2004, Haiti was one of the countries. And once I got home and started to listen to a lot of the interviews that we made with Junior, I started to look up archival footage, and sure enough, their band played there, and I actually watched them play, and it was just like so clear at that moment that I had to complete the story.
Is it a good hope for story, or have there been problems with Junior's life and his career?
Right. Well, the event that happens is. The anniversary was 10 years ago in June, where the lead singer, this gentleman, Azor, from the band Racine Mapude Azor, he just suddenly passed away. So Junior, pretty much his entire life was playing with this band, from an early age. And so suddenly he's, late 30s and doesn't have a career anymore, a lot of sort of like regular sort of concerns. And he had just started a family, but also his like artistic outlet was suddenly gone as well. And on top of that, the style of music that he was playing, he decided it was no longer in favor. And it's very drum and voice heavy. And it's sort of like, any dad, I suppose, or someone is like, kids just want to listen to hip hop now. It's pretty much what he was saying. And so the movie really asked that question, like, is that true? Has his band just disappeared and is no longer important in Haitian history. And simply put, the answer is that band is incredibly important, and all kids know of them and know the songs, and it's a very hopeful thing.
What is Junior doing now?
Junior has continued to play on different things. It's really fun. He's been on a number of different albums, and also I've discovered that like there's this whole underground world of people that collect his drums, and they don't really know each other, but like there's been some connections made because of this film, and I couldn't think of anything greater than that. But he's still playing in bands. He kind of the location where we filmed him, that was his house. He unfortunately had to leave that area, but he's bought a piece of land, and he's building his own house outside of Port-au-Prince now. So things are looking up.
Has he seen the film?
Oh yeah. And from the filmmaker standpoint, this is a very stressful thing to give a link to your main subject. And you know, I wanted to make a film that was pretty universal and understandable to people that didn't know much about Haiti, much less this band or this genre of music. But I also needed to have the film be like widely approved by people that knew that scene of music. It was a difficult ground to walk on, and so I was pretty nervous that I wanted to represent his career in a good way, and he was incredibly excited about the film. He thinks he was a little bit, maybe portrayed a little bit sadder, but he was pretty sad.
So has it been shown in Haiti?
Yes, it showed in Port-au-Prince in April. And it's a festival, Nouvelle Views, which is its 6th year, and that was great to be accepted there.
Thank you. Let me move on to Siji.
Yes.
So, doing a history of Nigerian music, that's quite an achievement and quite a challenge.
Indeed.
Yes. Is yours one of the first that have really looked at the pioneers?
I wouldn't necessarily say so, but ours is the first from an insider's gaze. You know, it's a Nigerian story from a Nigerian perspective. It's a first in that regard, yes. You know, it's a musical. You know, it's as far as it's like a love song to Nigeria. You know, it's a musical journey. We're looking at key moments in the nation's history through the eyes of its iconic, through the eyes and work of its iconic and long forgotten pioneering greats. So it takes you, tell me.
Yeah. So again, what inspired you to take on this challenge?
Oh wow. A dear friend of mine, a childhood friend actually, who's also here with me in New York. He's an audiophile. He collects rare records, tube amplifiers, all things analog, hi-fi gear, and he's obsessed with records. So he's managed to amass an incredible collection of records from Nigeria and actually from Africa. One of the most valuable, one of the most important I can think of actually. His name is Osita Anyanwelu. Anyway, whenever he goes on these trips, these crate digging exploits of his, you know, occasionally when he comes back, he'll call me over and we'll sit down and we'll have a listening session to some of his latest finds. And on this particular trip, he came back with he reached out to me and said, Siji, yo, you won't believe what, make sure you come see me. I just got back, I've got some incredible records you need to check out. Just come over. And I went over to his place and brought out a dusty crate of battered 45-inch singles and put one of them on, and you know, it's like a wave of nostalgia just swept over me. And I just instantly remembered I had vivid flashes of my own childhood growing up in Nigeria, listening to all these old records that my fathers used to play, records I heard at parties and everything. So it just kind of stirred all these emotions like, wow, this is my past, you know. And I told him, who are these people? Because some of these, you have to remember, these are very rare records. I was like, who are these people? Where are they? Are they still alive? And he says, no, this is Fatai Rolling Dollar. I'd never heard of Fatai Rolling Dollar. And, you know, needless. So he played me a whole bunch of records. And really the seeds for Elders Corner were planted right there and then. Because I said, you know, at some point I'm going to go back to Nigeria. Because you have to remember, I'd been in the West for over 23 years. I hadn't gone back. I said, when next I go back to Nigeria, I'm going to go dig out some of these people Who are they? Where are they? Are they still alive? What's their story? And that was it.
So was it hard to find these people?
Funny enough, as fate would have it, my co-producer Adebantu, whom I met right before I left for the trip to Nigeria. I told her I was going to come to Nigeria. I hadn't been in 23 years. He's German. He's part German, part Nigerian. He was also a musician, and he had returned home a few years before me, and he'd kind of immersed himself into Nigeria, into the music scene and everything, and had been doing all these recordings. So when I got to Nigeria, he was one of the first people I reached out to. This was the era of MySpace. We connected on MySpace, I remember very well. And once I got to Nigeria, I sent him a message like, yo, I'm back, I'm here. Remember me? I sent you a message a few days back. It was, where are you living? I told him I was living in Ikeja. I said, for real? I'm about 5 minutes away from you. I'm like, for real? And indeed he was. So he came over, and then I started telling him about these records I had heard and these old musicians I wanted to check out and see if they were still alive and fine. I said, would you know a guy called Fatai Rolling Dollar? And he goes, yeah, I know Fatai Rolling Dollar. How could you possibly know Fatai Rolling Dollar? Is this an old man? He says, yes, he's in his 80s. He's still alive. I just did a recording with him. And as fate would have it, he took me along to meet Fatai Rolling Dollar. And the beauty of the project is all these old legendary greats, they'd all been in touch with each other. They had like a club, almost like an old, they all knew each other. They all know who was still alive, who had passed on. And they kind of connected the dots for me, really, because we sat down with Fatai Rolling. He'll tell me, make sure you reach out to this person. He's in this place. Or this person passed away a few years ago. But you can still catch this person. And one by one, they all just kind of linked each other. They made it happen.
And again, now a similar question I asked Siji: has it been shown in Nigeria? And if so, what is the response?
Not in the manner in which we wanted to. The festivals have been virtual so far. We've played quite a few big festivals all over the world, but they've all been virtual. And not a lot of Nigerians have access to broadband internet. So a few of the rich who have the means, I have been able to tap into that. But it's my dream to take the film back home on a proper scale. We had an offer to bring it home as part of a little festival, but I didn't feel it would do it justice because, again, it will have been shown to the folks who had the means to stream 1 hour-long films on broadband internet in Nigeria. So it is our desire to take it back home in person to some of the cinemas and really do it justice.
But what has been your reception so far, viewers?
Oh, it's overwhelming, incredible. We just played the Africa Film Festival in Cologne, and I took it upon myself to go because it was in person. And I said, you know what? If I ever get to see this film on the big screen at least once, you know what? I have to. So they decided, the German authorities kind of eased their restrictions and made sure people could go gather into cinemas. So I got on a plane and I went, and it was nothing like being in a theater full of people, hearing them respond to the film. They gave us a standing ovation. We had a Q&A. It was incredible. So the reviews have been coming in. The film has been exceeded my expectations. I'll put it far expectations. The love has been real and really humbling.
And you know that Trinidad and Tobago has links with Nigerian music.
Of course, and Nigerian religion. So I think I was trying to come to Trinidad, but I wasn't sure. When I was looking, apparently the borders weren't open to foreign nationals. Only national Canadians could come back.
They've changed it. They've changed it now.
When?
They've changed it. You can now come once you're vaccinated. And people love Lord Kitchener in Trinidad. And Lord Kitchener, as you know, has so many connections with Nigerian music and high life.
Yes, high life and calypso are so closely intertwined. They draw from the same well. Lyrically, musically, it's the same thing.
I think our time is beginning to run down. AJ, would you have any comment on Siji or Siri?
Well, one thing I wanted to say is when I was making this short film, I was actually had a feature in mind too, but then I got sidetracked and made this short film. But I always thought that it should accompany a feature short. And frankly, I don't think there could be like a better match. Like, so bravo to the festival for programming these two films together. Like, there's like, it seems like there's a lot of threads.
Indeed.
And because of the virtual nature, oh, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
You go. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go on.
I was just gonna say that if because of the virtual nature, I was actually geo-blocked out of watching.
Same.
Well, you're in Brooklyn, right?
I'm in Brooklyn.
Yeah, same, over in Williamsburg. But
so
we need to see each other's films, but like they come from the same cloth. Like, and there's everywhere there's like a lot of common things. But bravo for programming them together. This was very smart.
Thank you. AJ, I need your email message. I need your email address so I can send you a link to the film, and vice versa.
Will do.
So thanks everyone for joining us for the Q&A. Don't forget you can still catch this great film as it is screening all today up to midnight. Check out our website, ttfilmfestival.com, where you can find out all the information on how to buy tickets and check out the films coming up. So thank you both. I think it's been a synergy and a nice timing and a nice link between having the two of you together. So thanks a lot for being part of the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival. We're very proud of having you as part of it.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Can we have now that your borders open, can we have another festival so I can hop on a plane?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Thank you.